The colony of New Dawn was a shining hope for humanity, far from Earth. It stood on a beautiful planet with green forests and wide oceans. About 500,000 people lived there. They had built cities, schools, farms, and factories. The colony was peaceful and full of life for years. It had sent messages to Earth with news about new discoveries and daily life. Everyone on Earth was proud of New Dawn. On one ordinary morning, the colony's leaders began to notice something strange. The messages from New Dawn had stopped. At first, the Earth Command thought it was a simple technical problem. Maybe the communication satellites had broken, or a storm on the planet was blocking signals. But hours passed, then days, and still no news came. The silence grew deeper. Concern spread through the people of Earth. A special team was sent immediately to find out what had happened. Small scout drones were sent to orbit the colony's planet. When the first drone reached orbit and sent pictures back, everyone stopped. What they were doing to watch, the images were shocking. The beautiful cities were gone. Tall buildings were reduced to rubble. Fires still burned in some places. Roads were cracked and broken. There was no movement anywhere. No cars, no people. No signs of life. A closer look showed the ground round the colony was scorched. The forests were burned. Even the great ocean near the main city was polluted and dark. It was clear something terrible had happened. This was not a natural disaster or a simple accident. Someone had attacked New Dawn. The news hit Earth hard. People could not believe it. Who would do such a thing? Why? The government quickly held an emergency meeting. Scientists and military officers gave their reports. The colony's defenses had been destroyed quickly. The attack was very fast and very strong. It was not a random attack but a planned destruction from the data and signals captured. The attackers were identified. They were from a powerful alien empire called the Varel Dominion. The Varel had been known to Earth's leaders before. They were a fierce and aggressive race. Many had feared their rival. Earth had made agreements to avoid war with the Varel. But New Dawn was far from Earth and beyond the reach of the strongest human fleets. Many on Earth had hoped the Varel would stay away. Now, those hopes were gone. The news spread like fire. Families waited anxiously for more information. People gathered in public squares and watched screens showing the ruined images. Many cried. Some were angry and wanted revenge. Others were afraid that the war would reach Earth itself. Among all this, a young pilot named Liam stood quietly watching the news. Liam had grown up dreaming of flying among the stars. He had trained for years to become a soldier in the solar fleet. When the news of New Dawn's destruction came, Liam felt something deep inside. It was not just sadness. It was a burning desire to protect humanity. He knew that what had happened could not be ignored. The leaders of Earth faced a difficult choice. Should they try to negotiate with the Varel, or should they prepare for war? Many voices spoke at the council meetings. Some said peace was the best way. They worried about the cost of war. But Admiral Soren Pierce, the commander of the Solar Fleet, was firm. He stood tall and said, "We cannot let this pass. If we do nothing, the Varel will strike again. Our people deserve justice. Our future depends on our strength." The council agreed to send a message to all human worlds. The message was clear. New Dawn had been destroyed, but Earth would not forget. Earth would gather every ship, every soldier, and every weapon to respond. It would send a message of power to all enemies. In just 7 days, the largest armada in human history would launch. 700,000 warships, from the smallest fighters to the largest dreadnoughts, would leave Earth to find and stop the Varel. The news of the fleet's preparation brought a new feeling across humanity. Hope returned, mixed with determination. People in every colony and city began to prepare. Some joined the military. Others worked in factories to build more ships and weapons. Families said goodbye to their loved ones going to serve. Liam was assigned to a battle cruiser called the Valor. It was a fast and powerful ship, ready to face the enemy. He met his crew, a group of skilled men and women from many worlds. They were ready to fight together. On the night before the launch, Liam looked up at the stars. The sky was clear, and the stars shone brightly. He thought about New Dawn and the people who had lost everything. He promised himself he would do everything to make sure such tragedy would never happen again. Meanwhile, across Earth, people gathered in quiet places to pray or think. Many felt the weight of what was coming. They hoped the war would be short and peace would return. But deep down, everyone knew this was only the beginning of a long and hard fight. The colony of New Dawn was silent now, but its story would live on. It had changed humanity forever. The Earth fleet was ready. The mission of vengeance had begun. The silence after New Dawn's fall was not quiet on Earth. People everywhere spoke of the tragedy. They felt a mix of grief and anger. The loss of the colony was more than a disaster. It was a warning. The Varel Dominion had shown their true face. Now Earth had to decide how to respond. The Solar Assembly gathered in the Great Hall of the Earth capital. Leaders from every human colony, world, and system joined by video link or in person. The room was filled with serious faces. Everyone knew the future of humanity was on the line. The first to speak was Counselor Mira, a wise leader from the Mars colony. We must consider all options, she said. War could destroy more lives. We should try to find peace through talks. Violence may bring more death. Some agree with her. They wanted to avoid another war, especially one so large. The cost would be high. They remembered stories from Earth's past how long wars had caused pain and loss. They believed diplomacy was the way, but many others thought differently. Admiral Soren Pierce stood and looked around the room. His voice was strong and clear. The Varel did not ask for peace when they wiped out New Dawn. They sent no warning, no demand. They destroyed an entire colony without mercy. If we do not stop them now, they will come for Earth next. We must respond with strength. We must show the galaxy that humanity will not be broken. His words made a deep impact. There was a long silence before the room began to buzz with discussion. Some nodded in agreement. Others still hesitated. Then Commander Rena, leader of the Earth Defense Forces, spoke. I have seen the destruction firsthand. The Varel have no respect for life or law. They only understand power. If we wait, they will strike again. Our best chance is to act quickly and decisively. The debate went on for hours. News cameras captured every moment. People watched from their homes, feeling the weight of the decision. Some prayed for peace, others prepared for war. Finally, the vote was called. The question was clear. Should Earth send its full fleet to destroy the Varel threat? The results were overwhelming. Almost every leader voted yes. The risk was too great to ignore. The message was clear. Humanity would fight back. The decision was announced across the solar system. The Earth Defense Command began immediate preparations. Shipyards worked day and night. Every available warship was sent for repairs and upgrades. New fighters were built. Training centers accepted thousands of new recruits. Liam was at the training base when the news came. The young pilot felt a surge of pride and fear. He thought of the friends he would fight beside. He thought of his family waiting back home. The coming battle would test them all. In Earth's orbit, the fleet began to gather. 700,000 ships moved like a great mechanical storm. There were ships of all sizes, from tiny scout vessels to massive battleships that could crush entire enemy fleets. The crews came from every human world, united for one purpose. Admiral Pierce stood on the bridge of the command ship, the Invincible. He watched the armada form up, knowing the road ahead would be hard. We fight for those who cannot fight anymore, he said quietly, for New Dawn, for all of humanity. The fleet's destination was the heart of the Varel Dominion. The route was long and dangerous. Many systems in Varel space had powerful defenses. The fleet had to move carefully to avoid traps and ambushes. At the same time, Earth sent messages to other alien races. Some had been friends or allies. Earth asked for support, or at least neutrality. The galaxy was watching. No one wanted another war, but all knew humanity was serious. As the fleet moved closer to Varel space, the first signs of the enemy appeared. Patrol ships detected small Varel fighter groups testing the human defenses. The battles were brief but intense. Human pilots like Liam showed their skill and courage, often flying far from their ships to protect their fleet. Liam's ship, the Valor, was part of a fast strike group. Their mission was to find enemy outposts and destroy them before the main fleet arrived. On one mission, Liam's group discovered a hidden Varel base on a moon. They attacked at night, using surprise to their advantage. The battle was fierce, but the humans won. It was the first victory on the path to revenge. Back on Earth, families waited anxiously for news. Every success lifted spirits. Every loss brought sorrow. The war was not just fought in space, but in the hearts of all humans. Admiral Pierce sent regular messages to the people. "This is a fight for survival," he said. "We will meet the enemy with courage and honor. We will show the galaxy what humanity is made of." As the fleet pushed deeper into enemy space, the Varel started to realize they were not facing an easy target. Their attacks became more desperate and dangerous. But the human ships moved with skill and teamwork. Every battle brought lessons. Every victory made them stronger. Liam often thought about New Dawn. He remembered the peaceful streets, the laughter of children, and the green fields. He wanted to bring peace back to the galaxy. But he knew it would come only after the fight. The mission of vengeance had begun. The fleet moved forward, ready to face whatever waited in the dark reaches of space. Humanity was no longer a quiet colony lost in the stars. It was a force to be reckoned with. If you want, I can write part 3 next. Would you like me to continue? The days passed quickly as Earth's great fleet prepared for war. Shipyards on every planet, moon, and space station worked without rest. The sky above Earth filled with stars made of metal and light. Warships of every size gathered for a single purpose. The people of Earth watched with mixed feelings. Some felt pride, others felt fear. No one could ignore the fact that the galaxy was changing forever. Liam stood on the deck of the Valor, watching the endless lines of ships stretch into the distance. He had never seen so many warships gathered before. The sound of engines and the bright lights of the fleet made him feel small, but also part of something greater. Across the solar system, thousands of factories made parts, weapons, and armor. Engineers tested new weapons that would give humanity an edge. New pilots like Liam trained in simulators and real ships. Soldiers practiced together, preparing for the battles ahead. In the spaceport cities, families said quiet goodbyes to their loved ones. Tears mixed with hope and promises to return safely. Liam hugged his sister before leaving. "I will come back," he said softly. "I promise." The solar assembly met one last time before the fleet's departure. Leaders gave speeches filled with determination and hope. Counselor Mira, who had once spoken for peace, now stood beside Admiral Pierce. "This is the moment humanity shows its true strength," she said. "We fight not only for ourselves, but for every world that dreams of freedom." Admiral Pierce addressed the assembled fleet and crew. "We face a dangerous enemy," he said. "The Varel Dominion believes in power through fear and destruction. We believe in courage, unity, and justice. Our ships will carry the spirit of humanity to every corner of this war. Remember why we fight. Remember New Dawn. Fight with honor, with..." The final orders given, the armada began to move. Ships left their docks one by one, then in groups, then as a great wave. The sky filled with engines and lights as the fleet gathered near Earth's orbit. The great command ship, Invincible, led the armada. Its massive hull shone like a silver mountain. From its bridge, Admiral Pierce watched the fleet assemble with pride and responsibility. He knew the cost of the coming fight could be high. Many lives would be changed forever. The fleet's destination was the heart of the Varel Dominion. The route would take them through dangerous space filled with enemy patrols and unknown hazards. The journey was long, but the fleet moved with steady determination. As the ships traveled through the stars, the crews spent their time preparing. Pilots like Liam practiced their flight maneuvers. Engineers worked on weapons and shields. Soldiers trained for ground battles. Even as the fleet moved forward, scouts sent from the armada reported signs of Varel activity. Small enemy groups tried to test human defenses, but were quickly driven off. The humans had learned to work as one. Liam's group, the Valor Strike Team, was given a special mission to find and destroy enemy supply stations near the border. These stations helped the Varel keep their fleets ready for war. Taking them out would slow the enemy's ability to fight. The team prepared carefully. They studied the maps and plans. At night, they made surprise attacks on hidden bases. Their speed and teamwork surprised the Varel. Each victory lifted the spirits of the whole fleet. But the Varel did not give up easily. Their attacks became stronger and more dangerous. Sometimes they used tricks and traps to try and catch human ships off guard. In one battle, Liam's ship was caught in a sudden explosion. He felt the ship shake violently but kept control. His quick thinking saved the crew and allowed them to escape. The danger was real, but so was the courage of the human crews. They believed in each other and in their mission. Every success was a step closer to justice. Far from the battlefield, families waited anxiously for news. Messages from the fleet were sent regularly. Admiral Pierce's words were shared with all. "We face a dark road ahead," he said in a broadcast, "but together, we will bring light back to the stars." In the silence between battles, Liam often thought about New Dawn. He remembered stories from his parents and teachers about the colony. He thought about the people who had lived there and the life they had built. He knew the fight was not only about warships and weapons, but about protecting the future for all humans. The fleet passed through asteroid fields and dark nebulae. Every moment was tense. Every signal was watched. The Varel were clever and powerful, but the humans had something more: the will to survive and the desire to protect each other. As they moved deeper into Varel space, the full power of the Dominion began to appear. Massive battle stations and defense grids guarded key worlds. Enemy fleets grew larger. The war was about to become even harder. Admiral Pierce called a meeting of his commanders on the Invincible. They studied the enemy positions and planned their next moves. Every decision was careful and measured. The commanders knew that every loss would weaken humanity's chance to win. Liam listened as plans were made for the first major strike. The goal was clear: break through the enemy defenses and show that humans would not be stopped. That night, before the battle, Liam stood on the deck of the Valor once more. He looked at the stars and felt the weight of what was coming. The journey had just begun, but he was ready. The gathering storm of war was upon them. The fate of many worlds would soon be decided. Humanity's courage and strength would be tested like never before. The human armada moved steadily deeper into Varel space. The tension among the crews was high. Everyone knew the enemy was waiting. The silence before battle was heavy, filled with unspoken fears and hopes. Admiral Pierce stood on the bridge of the Invincible, watching the stars pass by. His eyes were sharp, scanning every sensor reading. The Varel fleet was close, ready to fight. The moment of truth had come. Liam sat in the pilot's seat of the Valor. His hands rested lightly on the controls, but his mind was alert. Around him, the ship's crew prepared weapons and systems. The engines hummed quietly, ready to push the ship to full speed. Suddenly, alarms blared. The fleet's sensors detected hundreds of enemy ships approaching fast. The Varel had sent a large fleet to stop the humans at the border. Admiral Pierce's voice came through the comms. "All ships, prepare for battle. Protect the fleet. Show the Varel the strength of humanity." The ships shifted into battle formation. Fighters launched from carriers, streaking into the blackness to meet the enemy. Massive dreadnoughts raised their shields and aimed their weapons. The space around the armada became alive with flashing lights and roaring engines. The first shots fired in bursts of light and energy. Lasers sliced through the darkness, striking enemy vessels. Explosions shook the silence of space as ships were hit. The battle had begun. Liam's Valor was part of the squadron tasked with protecting the fleet's flanks. They flew fast, weaving between fire and debris. Liam's hands moved quickly, dodging missiles and firing back at Varel fighters. The enemy was fierce and skilled. Their ships moved with deadly precision. They attacked in waves, trying to break the human lines. Despite the pressure, the human crews fought with calm and coordination. Pilots called out enemy positions. Ships move as one, supporting each other. The training and teamwork showed in every move. Liam found himself chasing a small group of enemy fighters. Near a large asteroid, the Varel pilots were aggressive, but Liam's squadron was faster. He targeted one fighter and fired. The enemy ship exploded in a shower of sparks. Suddenly, Liam's ship shook. A missile had struck near the engine. The alarms flashed red. The ship's systems flickered, but Liam kept control. "Damage report," he said calmly. "Engine 1 is offline," the engineer replied. "Shields holding. We can keep fighting." Liam nodded. He adjusted his course, falling back to a safer position. His crew worked quickly to repair the engine. The battle raged for hours. The human fleet used every weapon and tactic they had. Large ships fired powerful cannons, tearing through enemy lines. Fighters swarmed like hornets, striking fast and disappearing. Slowly, the tide turned. The Varel fleet, despite its numbers, began to fall apart. Their ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. The human armada held its ground. Admiral Pierce's voice came over the comms again. "We have broken the enemy line. Pursue and destroy." The fleeing ships showed no mercy. Liam's squadron chased the retreating fighters. He felt a fierce pride as they picked off the last of the enemy. When the battle ended, the fleet gathered its wounded and counted its losses. Many ships were damaged. Some brave crews had been lost, but the victory was clear. The news spread quickly. The first major battle against the Varel had been won. Across the fleet, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Pilots hugged their friends. Commanders praised their crews. The victory gave new hope. Liam found a moment alone on the Valor's deck. He thought of New Dawn and the people lost there. Their memory drove him to fight harder. The battle was only the beginning. The Varel would not give up easily, but humanity had shown it could stand and fight. The mission of vengeance was moving forward. The fleet would press deeper into enemy space. More battles awaited. For now, the stars shone a little brighter. The Armada moved closer to Carith Prime, the heart of the Varel Dominion. The planet was dark and cold from space, surrounded by a thick field of defenses. Massive orbital fortresses and shield generators guarded the world. The sky was crowded with enemy warships waiting for the humans to arrive. Admiral Pierce stood on the bridge of the Invincible. His face was calm but serious. He studied the enemy positions carefully. "This will be the hardest battle yet," he said quietly to his commanders. "Carith Prime will not fall easily, but we have to break their defenses for New Dawn, for all who suffer under Varel rule." Liam and his crew prepared on the Valor. They checked weapons and shields. Everyone knew what was coming. The battle would be long and dangerous. The first attack began with a massive bombardment from the fleet's largest ships. Energy beams and missiles smashed against the orbital shields. The ground trembled from the power of the assault. The shields flickered but held strong. Enemy ships responded with powerful fire. The sky lit up with explosions and bursts of light. Fighters from both sides clashed in fierce dogfights. Liam flew through the chaos, guiding the Valor as it weaved between enemy fire. His squadron targeted missile platforms and enemy fighters trying to protect the fortresses. On the ground, human drop ships prepared to land soldiers. Marines trained hard for this moment. Their mission was to storm the enemy citadel and disable the shield generators from inside. The battle stretched on for 3 days. The fleet kept pounding the defenses. The shields weakened. The fortresses took damage. But the Varel fought back with desperation. Their ships flew reckless attacks. The sky was a storm of metal and fire. Liam's squadron was sent to protect the drop zones. They fought off waves of enemy fighters trying to stop the Marines. Every fight was a test of skill and will. Finally, the shields around Carith Prime began to fail. With the defense weakened, the human drop forces landed. The Marines moved quickly, facing fierce resistance from the Varel soldiers on the planet's surface. The battle turned into a brutal fight. Streets and buildings became battlegrounds. The Marines used every weapon and tactic they had. They fought through narrow alleys and ruined towers. Liam's ship stayed close above the ground, providing support with its weapons. He targeted enemy vehicles and artillery to help the soldiers below. The Marines reached the Grand Citadel, the center of Varel power. It was heavily guarded. The battle was intense. The Varel fought with desperation, knowing the fate of their empire was at stake. After hours of fighting, the Marines succeeded in disabling the shield generators. The orbital shields around Carth Prime collapsed. The human fleet took advantage and struck hard. With the defenses down, human warships entered the planet's orbit and began to bombard key targets. The Varel command center was hit. Communications were lost. Admiral Pierce sent a message to the Varel leaders. Your empire has brought destruction to innocent lives. You have chosen war. Now face the justice of humanity. The Varel response was silence. The battle for Carth Prime was a turning point. The human fleet had broken the strongest defenses. The Varel Dominion was beginning to fall apart. Liam felt tired but proud. The fight was far from over, but this victory showed humanity's strength. The mission of vengeance was closer to its goal. The stars were no longer silent witnesses, but battlegrounds of a great war. The battle for Carth Prime had changed everything. The Varel Dominion's power was broken, and their forces scattered. But the war was not yet over. Deep within the ruins of their empire, the Varel Council gathered. They faced a choice: continue fighting and risk total destruction, or surrender and face judgment. Admiral Pierce received word of the Council's willingness to negotiate. The human armada held position near Carth Prime, waiting. The fleet was ready for any outcome, battle or peace. Liam stood on the deck of the Valor, watching the stars beyond the viewport. The galaxy felt quiet, but the tension was high. He thought about the many lives lost on New Dawn, on Carth Prime, and in battles across the stars. He knew this moment was important. A small delegation of Varel ships approached the Invincible under a flag of truce. Admiral Pierce prepared a reception team. The council members arrived, proud but weary. They looked like warriors who had fought to long. In the Grand Hall of the Invincible, the meeting began. Admiral Pierce addressed the council with respect, but firmness. Your empire attacked an innocent colony. You destroyed lives without warning. Humanity will not forget. We offer you a chance to stand trial and face justice. The Varel leader, a tall figure named Kale, replied with quiet dignity. We accept judgment. The blood of New Dawn stains our hands. We will face the consequences. The trial was set to take place in the United Earth Court, a symbol of human law and fairness. Representatives from every human world came to witness. The Varel Council faced charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Evidence was presented: images of the destroyed colony, survivor testimonies, and intercepted communications proving the attack was planned. The court listened carefully. The Varel did not deny the crimes. They spoke of their empire's harsh rule but admitted their wrongs. Some expressed regret, others remained defiant. Admiral Pierce watched as justice unfolded. He believed in fairness but knew that peace required accountability. The court's decision was clear. The Varel leaders were sentenced to long imprisonment. Their empire's military forces were to be disbanded. Reparations would be made to rebuild the destroyed colonies. Many humans felt relief. The war had ended with justice, not endless violence. The message was clear. No one could attack humanity and escape punishment. Back on the Valor, Liam and his crew heard the news with quiet hope. The future was still uncertain, but the galaxy had changed. Admiral Pierce gave a final speech to the fleet. We fought for those who could not fight. We stood for justice and peace. Let this be a new beginning for humanity and all who seek harmony among the stars. As the Varel Dominion's leaders were taken into custody, the human armada began its journey home. The war was over, but the lessons remained. Liam looked out into space, feeling a mix of exhaustion and hope. The stars were still there, waiting. Humanity had grown stronger and wiser. The mission of vengeance had become a mission of peace. The story of New Dawn was remembered, not just for loss, but for the courage and strength it inspired. The war was over. The great human armada sailed home, carrying the stories of battles won and sacrifices made. the Varel Dominion lay broken, its leaders held accountable. Yet, the echoes of this conflict stretched far beyond the stars where the fight had been fought. Admiral Pierce stood on the bridge of the Invincible as the fleet moved through the quiet depths of space. His gaze was steady, but his mind was alive with thoughts of the future. Humanity had shown strength and justice, but the galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers. Liam sat near a viewport on the Valor, watching distant stars pass slowly by. The long journey home gave him time to think about everything he had seen. He remembered New Dawn, the silent colony, and the fierce battles that followed. He thought about the families waiting for their loved ones, the soldiers who had fought bravely, and the future they all hoped to build. The humans who had joined the war had changed. They were no longer just people from scattered colonies. They were a united force, bonded by struggle and hope. Earth was no longer just a planet, it was a symbol of power and resolve. News of humanity's victory spread quickly across the galaxy. Other alien races took notice. Many sent messages of congratulations. Some offered alliances, others watched, quietly, unsure of what to expect. But one thing was clear: no race would dare to attack a human world again. Without facing the full strength of Earth's fleets, the war had taught humanity many lessons. It had shown the cost of weakness and the price of justice. It had revealed the courage hidden in ordinary people. It had united worlds that once thought themselves separate. On Earth, celebrations filled the streets. People welcomed the returning soldiers and crews with cheers and tears. Memorials were held for those who did not come back. The story of New Dawn became a symbol, a reminder of why humanity must stand strong. Admiral Pierce addressed the people of Earth and the colonies in a broadcast watched by millions. "This victory is not the end," he said. "It is the beginning of a new chapter. We will continue to protect our homes and build a future of peace. But we will never forget the price of freedom." Liam walked through the busy streets of Earth after his ship landed. He saw the joy and relief on faces around him. He felt proud to be part of this great human family. But he also knew the galaxy was full of challenges. The war had opened a door to new possibilities, and new dangers dot as he looked up at the stars. Liam whispered to himself, "We are ready. We will protect our future." The human armada had returned from war. It carried with it a message to the galaxy. Humanity was united, strong, and not to be underestimated. The stars would remember Earth's vengeance and the courage of its people for generations to come.